Hello guys, this is Bunny Rabbit and we're at the chart. We're gonna see what we can do. We're gonna unlock this. Oh, I think I just messed up, guys. Oops. I'm just gonna speed up right here. Okay, it stops. Okay, that's good. We're gonna hide in the outhouse. Okay guys, so we're here, we're gonna keep still and we're gonna survive. What was that? It sounded like someone's life was in danger. It meant something dangerous was nearby. Wait, I couldn't be rash. The world didn't have many things that logic couldn't explain, like the existence of murderers. But until I saw the source of the scream myself, it was nothing but a source of fear.
今から人はここに入って鍵をかけて絶対に物音一つ立てないで。
I reached to open the door, but something stayed my hand. It was my promise to Jamie. But that scream just now was very real. It wasn't normal. I had to assume the situation was dangerous and maybe I could help if I went out. But that meant endangering myself. I was no saint and I had no plans to rectify that. If there was something that could get me to walk out, it would be curiosity. My curiosity had won over many dangers thus far. But right now, it was weaker than my fear and risk of death. Why? Because I already knew. Shit, what the hell were those memories? It wasn't a premonition, a dream, or anything else that vague. My brain recognized it as something I'd experienced. But how? After all, I was still alive, and the time from those memories had yet to come. Was I a precog or something? By God, I swore I'd never experienced anything like this before coming here. And why did the memory come back to me at this particular moment? Regardless, that overwhelming fear and the pain and death that followed were exactly what waited for me if I opened the door. I couldn't feel more certain of that. The thoughts rendered me unable to move, immobile. I stood still, completely certain that I'd lost my chance to leave. I wasn't childish enough to sneer at selfish decisions, but this still didn't feel good. Not to mention I was upset at myself for not being able to act like me and just run out simply because I was curious. I didn't even feel saved. Until that moment. Suddenly the door began to shake. This place had a handle on the outside, and someone was pulling on it hard. There was a lock, sure, but there was only so much it could take before it broke. I prepared to pull on it from inside, but
今から人はここに入って鍵をかけて絶対に物音一つ立てないで。
what would happen if I did? Whatever was outside would instantly know I was here. Even if I protected the door, the thing had lots of other ways of hurting me. But what if it didn't know about me and was just weirded out by this randomly locked toilet? What if I didn't show a hint of fear to what it was doing? Would it just leave? I chose to just wait and see. Once again, someone pulled the door, shaking the structure as a whole. I gulped down a scream and focused on the lock. If it broke, it'd be over for me. Over, as in, I'd be dead. That was what that memory told me. I was powerless back then, and even more so now. Assuming I'd try to fight back, what would work? I'd heard that teeth were the hardest part of the human body, so maybe I could bite? Yeah, I'd tear whatever it was apart with my teeth. I'd bite it to death. I'd gather my wits and killing intent. Grinding my teeth, I glared at the door. Boy, I don't think it's dangerous because it looks like it's trees outside now. How long had it been? The sound suddenly stopped. For all I knew, it might have been a ploy to make me drop my guard. I'd slowly count to 500 if nothing happened in that time. I'd assume it went away. There were no screams or attacks after that, but the silence around me improved my perception, and I heard strange noises every now and then. Breathing, growling, claws on the ground. Basically, I felt a beastly presence. Hell no. To the no, no, no. Okay. So that thing actually existed here? Was that what the mists brought here from Saranaga? The wolf is coming. Did they all know about this? Shit, I couldn't learn anything in a place like this, and not knowing things scared me. Trusting my prescience, or deja vu, or whatever it was, I chose to stay quiet and wait. I'd find out everything tomorrow. I just had to make it through the night, and then talk to Chiemi. And if it was something I couldn't solve, I'd just run away. Thankfully, my bike repairs were going well, but I'd be leaving even if it didn't work. I'd walk to Kamifujiyoshi if I had to. Unlike Yasumisu, they might have had reliable means of transport. For now, I just had to stay awake and make it through the night. No wonder she hates it here. We made it. I never liked seeing night gradually turn brighter as the morning arrives. It always made me feel like shit, like I'd just done something harmful, both for my body and as a human being in general. I found it natural to spend the night asleep and welcome the morning well rested with a smile. I'd never expected to feel so much gratitude for the morning light leaking through the door of an outhouse. It felt like the beasts had been out and about the whole night. Naturally, the high humidity here had made my clothes all wet and sticky. It was unpleasant, but even trying to move them and make it more comfortable for myself felt like a matter of life and death. Maybe it was a good thing I couldn't relax, but hell, it was exhausting in more ways than one. When I heard Chiemi shout Haruaki-san in the distance, I was so overcome with relief I almost fell to my knees. If this turned out to be a trick and I opened the door to see some wolf with a chewed collar in its mouth lunging for my throat, I just give up and let it have me at this point. With that in mind, I opened the door. I expected to see the same picturesque village I'd seen yesterday, so what I actually saw shocked me pretty bad. What the hell was up with this thick mist? Excuse me? Why is it? What? No. Go back inside, boy. I couldn't see shit. It was like the entire area was consumed by it. Did someone line every inch of this place with dry eyes or something?
Haruaki-san!
I could hear Chiemi, but not see her.
Chiemi-chan! こっちだ!
Haruaki-san! よかった!
I heard a wet sound and finally saw a silhouette within the mist.
大丈夫?
手にはまった!
I walked up and saw exactly what I expected. A girl struggling to free one of her legs stuck deep in the paddy field.
そうか、頑張れ.
Oh, you jerk!
助けてって!
抜けないのね。じゃあ手を、よっと。
You freaking jerk.
わ、わ!
I tugged her hand and braced my legs. That was enough to help her, but she lost her balance and...
おっと! セーフ。
ヘッドロック! これ技! 決まってる!
Despite how close we were now, this wasn't the least bit romantic.
とにかくよかった. 無事だったんだ.
I definitely remembered a time where I was far from alright though.
ああ、なんとかね。
I had no idea what that was about, so I didn't see any reason to mention it.
ただ、夜中獣みたいな気配がした。
Chiemi's expression immediately darkened. She clearly knew what I was referring to.
聞きたいことはたくさんあるけど、まず、昨晩聞いた悲鳴のことが気になる。
それは。
え、知ってるの？
She fell silent, clearly uncomfortable. It was pretty ominous.
来て。どうせいつか嫌でも見る。
Chimmy gave me her hand. I took it, but I didn't feel the least bit excited about this. She led me down the path to the school dorm.
あ、房石さん、無事だったんですね。
Yup, we survived. But we died first.
生還おめでとう、ベンジョマン。
ありがとう、温かい布団マン。君たちも無事。いや、はるちゃんは？
Did she?
いえ、大丈夫です。まだ部屋なんですが、ちょっとショックが強かったみたいで、身支度に時間が。
そうか。皆さん、僕より先に動いてたみたいだな。
逆によく耐えれたな。寝てたの？
寝られるか。いつ出ていいかわからないから、ずっと起きて待ってたよ。ちえみちゃんに呼ばれてようやく。
え？起きてたんですか？
One, would you be able to sleep hearing all those screams, boy? Would you be able to sleep in that stench? Y'all need to pump y'all's toilet, that's what y'all need to do. Yasunaga-kun made it sound like that was weird.
いや、あのトイレで寝てごらん。横になるどころか、座れもしないぜ。
Oh, that too.
いや、そうじゃなく、そうか。
I really hate it when people just trail off like that. It makes me way too curious.
ちなみに君たちはなぜここに？
はるちゃん待ちと見張りだよ。
A lookout?
状況がはっきりするまで現場に誰も近づかないようにね。
The scene? Excuse me? Scene? So someone actually...
見る？ベンジョマンの胃袋の強度試し。
Boy, that's... What is going on here? He's crazy.
もっち、あんまふざけるなよ。
ああ、見るよ。
Excuse me? They're gonna think you're weird. The invisible and unknown were way scarier than anything else. Not to mention I could already smell something foul. I lightly moved them aside and walked up to the so-called scene. Don't do it, boy. Oh my goodness. There was a corpse. It was in such a horrible state, it was hard to recognize it as human. I imagine this was what you would have gotten if you'd overturned a butcher's cart. That was how truly the victim was disassembled. Also, the butcher would have had to deal in entrails. Enough of that comparison. Straining my eyes to look through the thick mist, I could actually make out some human parts within the vast sea of blood, or mountain of death. Hands, torn clothing, hair, and a shoulder bag. How professional. She kept hold of her interviewing tools even while running for her life. Didn't do her odds for survival any favors though. Oh my goodness, what the she died first, bro, that's insane. I would have thought she would have made it. Despite the body's state, it wasn't hard to tell that the victim was Hisako Mamiya, the small-time food journalist. That's so sad. That thing, did it come to me once it was done murdering her?
これはひどい。
大丈夫？吐き気とか。
Chimmy was standing a short distance away, looking at nothing in particular.
吐くものもないし、まあ慣れてるんで。
You're used to it.
春明さん、そっち系の学部だっけ？
まあ一応医学系。
え、すごい。検視とかできる？
医学系ってのは医学部以外の類似学部生が見え張って使う表現さ。まあ病理解剖なら何度か見たけど。
Wait, so he's trying to be a detective or something? I crouched down and put my hands together. Then, grimacing at the harrowing reek of blood, innards, and especially digested food, I brought my face closer. Perhaps I could learn something from this? I could, even if it wasn't much. This corpse wasn't split into pieces. The limbs were still connected, but they were folded in an unnatural way, and looked really flattened. They were either crushed or bent with no regard to bones or muscle position. Then her whole body had been torn apart. The innards were particularly badly damaged. The words wolf down feel like the best way to put it. I found it hard to describe. This wasn't my job, so there wasn't much I could tell about it but without touching it.
何がどうなってるのかわからない程度には常軌を逸した傷だよね。
I had an urge to add that this seemed inhuman, but I kept myself from saying that.
とにかくとっとと警察を呼んでプロに任せよう。
Bro, who's gonna believe him? Who's gonna believe him? Who's gonna tell them that there was a wolf who ate a human? In Japan. I said something any good citizen would, but for some reason they didn't seem to agree.
春明さん、警察は来ないんだ。
Why?
そんなことはないでしょう。人が死んでるんだし。
来ないんだ。
じゃあ避難しよ
う。それも無理なんだ。
What is going on? Why not? Do you like living in this?
どうして？バイクもあるし、この人たちが乗ってきた車だって。
とにかく不採取さんで生存者は全員見つかったはずだから、一度食堂に移動しましょ
う。はるちゃんは僕らが連れてくぞ。
そっちはお願い。春明さん、行こ
う。なあ、ちゃんと説明してくれないか？
悪いけど精神的に無理。自分で見て勝手に理解して。
You said you would explain in the morning. No, hombre. It was the first time Timmy had acted so harsh with me. I was pretty irritated myself, but it must have been worse for them. They actually had info on what was happening here.
無神経だったよ。
I mean, yeah, but it's also insensitive of them to not tell you what is going on because, like, you don't know shit, right? You could have died. Shimi said nothing more and just silently walked off. I followed after her. When we reached the plaza, I instantly understood what she'd said about evacuating. The bike and the van were both completely destroyed. The latter was in particularly bad state. The front window was broken, all 4 tires were flat, etc. My bike was on its side, its front fork was broken. Well, it was basically scrap metal now. Fuck. There was a rock right next to it. Guess we had our weapon. And there were more remains inside the van. It looked like an enormous mountain of flesh and bone. If I didn't know about Yudai Hashimoto-shi, I'd have assumed there were 2 or 3 corpses here. Damn.
橋本さん?
Jamie slowly nodded. I now knew we'd lost not only 2 lives, but any means of transportation as well.
あれ見て。
She pointed at a wooden electrical pole. The line was dangling, torn apart with no hope of repair.
よその電線は生きてるけど、食堂のは電話線ごとやられた。外には連絡できないよ。
Let's walk up the mountain? Like y'all do to get to school? I took out my own phone. It worked, but the battery was almost dead, and like before, it was out of range. The situation had become even harsher than before.
これも見て。
Shimi walked a few steps away. I followed after. There was a large boulder. It was tall enough to reach an average roof, and there were drawings on it. A crimson symbol of some sort. What did it represent? At first it looked like an incoherent mess of lines. However, I soon realized there was a pattern. It felt like the calling card of some street gang. From what I could tell, the basis was a wrapped diamond shape with a spiral inside. There were 2 of them. They seemed to be drawn in blood, but that wasn't nearly as disturbing as the bizarre shape.
狼が2匹、村に紛れ込んだ。
Two wolves?
戦わなきゃいけない。
What the heck? Shiemi made a quiet declaration. Apparently, the settlement had been invaded by something malicious, and it was intelligent enough to rid it of all means of escape or contacting help. I could understand that much, but it didn't make sense to me. This wasn't some isolated island. There was the cliff, sure, but you could still go down to Saranaga or go to Kamifujiyoshi. I'd ask about that the next time I had the chance.
ごめん。
ん？
気が立っちゃってごめん。春明さんだってきついでしょうに。
まあ気にしないでいいよ。所詮僕はよそ者だ。
そんなの言わないで。
ああ、言い方が悪かった。よそ者ゆえにルールがまだわからないから、もう少し静観するってこと。疲れちゃいるけど、多分普通の人よりは動揺はしてないと思うから、おとなしくしとこうってね。きっと他のご年配方はもっと殺気立ってるだろうし。
春明さん、本当にただの大学院生？
Duh. You found him in the bathroom and he wouldn't come out unless he heard your voice.
そうでなきゃなんだと？
なんか異様に落ち着いてない？まるでこういう室に慣れてるみたい。
多分大事な神経が何本か切れてるのさ。
The small dining hall was jam-packed with people.
てめえ
It wasn't him. Calm yourself.
生きてやがった。
おはようございます。大変なことになったみたいですね。
ごめんなさいね。ちょっと湯飲みが足りなくて。
いえ、お構いなく。
てめえがやったのかよ。あ？
What do you mean? The younger Oribe boy menaced me.
いや、やってないよ。どうしてそうなるの？
うるせえ。入ってくるんじゃねえ。よしぼうやめろ。うるせえのはお前だ。ああ？匠にだって言ってただろ。こいつが怪しいって。
Man, I hadn't expected to be treated this badly.
ガキが出る幕じゃねえっつってんだ。それにここじゃ迷惑だ。なあ、香織さん。
匠さん。とにかく落ち着いて。穏やかにね。
大丈夫だ。ちゃんと話は聞く。
Would you really fight a freaking 13-year-old?
ナムシ内大権現。ナムシ内大権現。
That's too quiet for her to be muttering like that. Oh my goodness.
やめえたえば縁起でもねえ。それより集会堂の鍵はどこだ？
野松様に預けたわよ。2、3日前、お団を直すんじゃって。
Uematsu-sama. Have we met her yet?
姉ちゃん、いいか？
取って参ります。
Oh, that's her? Okay. Wow. That was the woman. So she wasn't just an illusion. Uematsu-sama was her name, huh? I thought our eyes met for a second, but she just walked by me.
メイコちゃん、ちょっと待っててね。
That girl was here too. Deeper in, there was Kyonosuke no Satoshi, clearly irritated by something. And not too far away there was the old man who cried wolf, just like yesterday. It was hard to tell what he was looking at, let alone thinking. They were the only ones sitting, by the way. The others were all just idly standing around.
母さん、皆さん、戻りました。
はるちゃん、こっち。
Aww. The three students were here. With them, the settlement's entire population had gathered. As for the outsiders, the journalists were dead, while I and the mysterious girl had survived. I didn't know the circumstances, but they probably had their reasons to be suspicious of me. Suddenly, Chiemi did something unexpected.
リカ子さん、ちょっと待ってもらえる？
She stopped the girl who was about to go out to get some key. Each villager seemed to call her differently, so I didn't know what to call her myself.
この人、久石春明さん。皿長でバイク事故に遭った人。
あ、どうも。
An introduction now? Why?
こちら、植松里香子さん。回るに末で植松。珍しいでしょ？上藤吉の長者、植松家の現当主様。
植松里香子と申します。お見知りおきください。
Oh. So she was like a local celebrity, huh? Like Kyonosukeshi's no Sato family? Okay guys, so we're gonna leave it off here. Thank you for watching. Please leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe. Let's hope that we don't get hurt on the next episode. Thank you for watching. Bye!